Mr. Dave here from Geeky Guys, and welcome to another episode of 18 Days Till Halloween, 18 horror movies and 18 horror movie reviews. And today I thought we should go for a classic. I've tried to be going for some slightly more obscure, less known ones that people may not have watched, so they can watch it. But I think if you're doing a review of horror films, you can't really miss this one out. I think if I was to show you this, you would know what it is, and if not, probably when you start seeing things like this, you'll know exactly what it is. That's right, 1981's Evil Dead, directed by Sam Raimi, who we know better these days for directing superhero films like a few of the Spider-Man movies amongst many others. But yeah, it started off in 1978. He did a short film with friends as a proof of concept, which then led into them eventually being given enough money, not a lot of money, even for the time, to make this movie. And the basic idea, the basic premise of it is the book, which I showed there, the plasticky sort of copy of it that came with the DVD special edition set. That basically starts the film off that a historian and an archaeologist finds the book, the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, the Book of the Dead, inside an old medieval castle. He takes it away to a cabin in the woods with his wife and starts to study it. And he's looking at the incantations, and it's he's obviously not realizing how dangerous it is, and he starts reading some of these passages out, which unleashes this ancient evil force from under the ground, from hell, from the ether. It all comes in and starts doing some pretty nasty things. And then this cuts then to Ash Williams, who's the main lead character, leading man in this film. And he decides to come to this same cabin, unfortunately for them, where this historian and archaeologist was working on the book, and they go to the cabin for a bit of a short, nice holiday, and so they go there and having a lovely time. Ash has got his fiancée Cheryl with him, and there's another guy and his girlfriend as well, and everything's going fine until, of course, they find the tapes and find the remains of this investigation this archaeologist historian was progressing with, and of course, being young, kind of teenage young adults, they start messing about and scaring each other, joking about, start playing the tapes that is recorded, which has got obviously the passages from the book, and that kind of releases this evil on them. And then it's about the battle then to survive, and there's all kind of I mean, this was a video nasty at the time when it first came out. There's a lot of shocking scenes there. I mean, it's quite hammy, quite comedy and quite funny to watch it now, and I think it was kind of even then slightly tongue-in-cheek and kind of purposely like that. It was kind of horrible but played for laughs horrible. So yeah, there's some shocking scenes in there. They really did go for it in that film. I'm not going to tell you too much about it in case you've not seen it, but yeah, there's some shocking things that go on in the woods, in the shed, in the car, in the basement. The basement's one of the worst. All sorts of horrible things happened. Obviously this film kind of inspired later films going on, later slasher films and zombie films and other things. About basically any films with like ancient evil coming out is basically can lead back to this original idea and thought process of Evil Dead. And it's done well over the years. It didn't originally do amazingly well at the box office, and then it became kind of a bit of a cult classic. And then once it was allowed to be sold on VHS and DVD and Blu-ray, those sales have boosted it massively over the years. And it was enough to spawn a sequel, Evil Dead 2, in 1987, so quite a few years later, but they managed to get it done. We then had Army of Darkness in 1992, which for some people kind of was a low point of the series. It wasn't the best, I would say myself, but it still had some funny moments, but that's a whole nother video in its own, so I'm not going to talk about that too much. We then had the reboot in 2013 with Evil Dead, just Evil Dead again. Basically same idea, but completely different cast, different director, producer, and everything. So they basically rebooted it, as has happened a lot with films, especially with Friday the 13th as well. Came out at a similar time. That's had a lot of the remake reboot process as well. We then had Evil Dead Rise. They did a sequel to that in 2023. And then we've got another soft reboot, which is coming out next year in 2026. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. And I'm sure Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, who plays Ash Williams, will at least be creative consultants on that film. You'd certainly hope so, because otherwise it's just a dark, horrible film and loses all the charm that the original three had. And I think that's the problem with it. I think too many of these remakes have gone too dark, too gory, and they've forgotten the kind of sort of shaky, hammy, slightly not amazing acting, played for laughs, slightly horror comedy vibe, which made them great, which made people remember them and made people want more. And of course, in 2015, we got the Ash versus Evil Dead TV series on Stars, which also came out on some other streaming platforms as well. And that kind of went back to the originals again, I suppose. It's like kind of carrying on from where Evil Dead 2 left off, sort of later on in Ash Williams' life, when he's kind of moved away from all that, and all this Evil Dead stuff is all just old stories and people just think he's mad and crazy and eccentric and making it up. So we've had that, and we've had Evil Dead the musical as well, which was looked like it was quite fun. Never seen it, but I've seen a few clips, and apparently Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell did really like it, and like the way that they went with it, and still had the humour and the gore that the first two were famous for. So that's one to check out if you can find it on DVD or Blu-ray. We've also had video games as well. We've had comics like Marvel Zombies versus the Army of Darkness, Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, the Nightmare Warriors. So we've had all kinds of things: novels, graphic books, comics, games. So it's quite a big popular franchise that has done quite well, that gets downplayed a lot of times, I feel. Which is very unfortunate. More people need to check it out. More people need to realise that it kind of is supposed to be horror comedy. As I say, I'm not a big fan of the latest ones, because they are a bit too dark and a little bit too gory and a bit over the top, and a bit too play it serious. But we'll see what the new one's like next year, and hopefully that one will be a bit more of a return to form. But yeah, if you're going to say the words, make sure you get them right. Every single word, every syllable. Otherwise you're in trouble. Yeah, so that's Evil Dead. Big classic, big cult classic, video nasty, back in the late 70s, early 80s. If you've not seen it, definitely watch it. It's a very, very good film, very funny film, very eccentric film, very quirky. Shocking moments as well. As I said, check it out. Let us know what you think. If there's anything you want to mention about Evil Dead or the Evil Dead franchise, let us know. Don't forget to like and subscribe, of course, and we'll be back tomorrow with another horror movie review in the lead up to Halloween, and we'll see which one I decide to go for tomorrow.